Gage, you heard about Gage?
Mm-hmm.
The kid from Twitter?
I want their leader brought here. I want him brought to me. I want the revolution crushed.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the Mad Mamluks. My name is Sim. Along with me are my co-hosts Sheikh Amir
Assalamu alaikum.
and Mort. Welcome to the show, everyone. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Throw a comment in the comment section box below with your thoughts related to the show. Welcome, Sheikh. How are you?
Alhamdulillah, feeling Ribfest-y.
Ribfest?
Yeah.
Why about you're not watching the Euros?
No, I saw a bunch of comments. You guys, I think it's microphones. I saw a bunch of comments about I don't know anything about football, man. I'm sorry, dude.
You don't know about Kurat al-Qadam?
I know about Kurat al-Qadam. I just haven't watched it in like 45 years.
Astaghfirullah.
Yeah.
I've been watching. I mean, I watch a few games. Like, you know, I watch Canada get butt whooped, but I've been watching Wimbledon. That's my thing. I love tennis. I used to play tennis. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think I was with
You
the
don't
state.
look like a tennis player, though.
I was a junior UST player. I could have gone like pro, but me and Thark just
Him
left.
and his cousin.
Yeah, we just left. I was
His
number one
dad.
singles at Glenbard South, and he was number one at Glenbard East.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't look like a typical tennis player, and the coaches hated that because, you know, all these kids, these kids.
Lanky, tall, skinny, white.
No,
chickens.
not that. It's not about that, bro. They have their nice big bags and their hand towels, and tennis is a refined sport,
Yeah.
right? I'm coming out with basketball shorts. I don't have a cover my rackets in the back. Me and Thark were walking out like that, just kicking balls around. I'm shoving balls inside my, in the shorts to hold them instead of putting them in pockets, like little stuff like that. Walking around, and in tennis, this is, in most sports people get really excited when they score a point, right? In tennis, this is what they do. Right?
Yeah,
Me and Thark would just I'd be dancing on the court. I'm like, I'm rubbing it in.
You're not a very refined person, were you?
No, I talk to him. I talk so much crap to him. I'm like, ha, you got stringing machines in your basement. I still beat you. Like, I tell them. Oh, yeah. They didn't like it at all.
You do a lot of betting and stuff? Does that happen?
Betting?
Yeah, like...
No, I didn't bet at all. That's haram, sir.
No. Well, when you do like pool and stuff, usually you bet. Sometimes there's betting involved in sports. Yeah.
Oh,
give
yeah.
me that look.
Yeah, but I'm a Muslim, sir.
Billiards.
No, I know, but like
Oh,
when you're
okay.
you're you
Just
just have fun.
making
You
I
know,
bet
have
you
some
like one
bets.
of those.
No, but what I would do is I'll tell people, I'm going to ace you right now. I'm going to ace you right here.
We're
And
talking
I'll
about
tell them.
the days of Jahiliyyah,
Yeah.
That's all we're talking about. We're not talking about like you right now.
You know what's funny about that? So in the Hizb days, we would say those. No, I'm saying mine, not everyone else. But the thing is, it's funny because we'd all tell ourselves, those are the worst in Jahiliyyah become the best in Islam, right? We always use the pride, like, I'm the worst in Jahiliyyah. Like, the idea was that we would become better, right?
You stayed the same.
Yeah.
We just stayed the same.
Yeah, I know. Well, speak for yourself, sir.
So.
Yeah. Anyways,
All right, brothers.
what about you? Have you been following around qualifiers and...
Qualifiers.
I mean, Argentina
yeah,
just...
I'm a big sports fan.
Yeah.
Well, not sports fan, but generally I don't like sports. But when it comes to major football tournaments, I'm pretty into it.
I saw the Argentina game. I saw the...
No, that's Copa America.
Yeah, Copa, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a different tournament that's happening.
What are you watching?
Well, I'm following
Tell
that
us
one.
about
This
you.
is called the Euros.
Oh, that's
The Euros, yeah. The
okay.
Turkey did really well
Oh,
this year, and then
that's why I don't even like the Premier League. I don't even follow that too much. I like La Liga better anyways, so I'll probably watch the...
I don't even know what none of that is.
Oh, yeah.
All I know is FIFA.
Yeah.
But anyways, what we got on the agenda
this has nothing to
today,
do with La Liga. These are the national teams.
No, but most of them are Hispanic teams in La Liga, right? Like
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
they're
Spain.
Latin teams. Yeah, Spain, exactly. But a lot of them, I'm saying, so a lot of those players, also a lot of them come from Latin America and they play in the Copa League. A lot of them do, right? So that's why I like it better. I'm not a big fan of I don't know. I feel like, in the Premier League, like it's more about tradition.
No, you're completely don't
No,
talk
no.
about this.
No, I
The
just have a
Premier
quick
League
question.
is like on another level, and every
I'm
other
sure
league
it is. I'm not
I
a
have
big
a quick
fan.
is
question.
on
So,
another level.
but
I just wasn't like it.
Americans don't really follow football too. It's mainly Europe and the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I think you know, it's right now it's pretty.
Yeah, it's like
pretty
asking me
rare
if I watch
for-
rugby.
Yeah.
You know.
Like, I wouldn't really care.
Yeah,
I mean, I know the
you
All
wouldn't-
Blacks. I would.
You like the All Blacks, huh?
I do. In New Zealand, I like them because they do a haka dance.
Okay.
You know what haka is?
Yeah, I know what a haka is, bro.
great.
It's pretty
phenomenal.
violent, but yes, it's beautiful.
Why is it violent? It's
No,
a beautiful
I'm just-
expression of
What else we got on the
emotions.
agenda, bro? Forget football, all right? Let's not talk about football.
Let's just kill this segment before it gets worse. We have a wonderful guest, someone who's an entrepreneur who started a wonderful festival all across the North America and elsewhere. Maybe he can talk a bit more about where else he started, but his name is Rehan Siddiqui. He's part of a group of people who started Halal Ribfest. Welcome to the show.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Walaikum salam.
yeah.
Good to have you, man.
Good to be here in Chicago.
Yeah,
Second
mashallah.
time
I
around.
pulled up in the driveway and I saw this big old pickup truck that said Halal Ribfest on it.
That is a Ribfest truck.
Yeah, it has a
If
presence.
if I've ever seen one, you know what I'm saying?
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Well,
Gotta live up to the image, right?
Yeah, man. So what brings you to Chicago, brother? What's happened? Tell us what's going on.
Well, we're on a tour of Halal Ribfest. This is our second year touring. Last year we did about 18 cities. We did a lot more in Canada, in Ontario. We cut some of those small cities out. So this year we're doing about 11 across North America, 6 in the U.S., 5 in Canada. So it's just a touring festival, basically. Started off from one event in Toronto, but then alhamdulillah the demand was there. We had people come from all over the place, from Chicago, from New York, from Dallas, even all the way in from California. So then we kind of sat down and thought about it, talked to some people, and then kind of decided to see where we can go. The team grew, alhamdulillah, and then we were able to put on more events. It's been great, alhamdulillah.
So how does it work? Like you bring in a bunch of restaurants to feed people with different types of ribs. I've never been to one, so go ahead.
So yeah, I mean that's the thing. So in Canada, Ribfest is a very big thing. It's also in the U.S., but it's scattered. It's not everywhere. But in Canada, like almost every town gets its own Ribfest. But it's predominantly like pork ribs, and then with that they cook beef ribs on the side, and yet they're still not even halal. So, but you know when you're passing by, you know they say the Ribfest, you smell it before you see it, you know, because all that smoke and all that, you know. So it was a personal pain point that, you know, it's there, but we can't enjoy it. So that's where it started from. So generally how it works in a Ribfest is there's barbecue teams. They have massive trailers that their entire kitchen is on there. Their smokers, their warmers, and basically the whole shebang. They travel with that to different cities. So we wanted to kind of incorporate the same idea, not make it into something else. We wanted to take the same teams that do other Ribfest, but bring them into the halal and try to get them to experience the halal, and then from there move on with them. So alhamdulillah, that's how it is. We have a couple of teams that are here in Chicago. In some cities we have 4 or 5 teams. Some cities we have 3 teams, like that. So it varies who's available for which show. So basically they compete for a trophy. So who has the best ribs, who has the best sauce, who wins the People's Choice Award. So that's like their pride. They drive around with their trophies and they show, hey, like we won this, we won that, right? So
And what did
it's
you
kind
have
of
to go into? I'm pretty sure you guys are doing it at Yorktown Mall, right?
Yes.
So how did you choose that as a venue?
I mean, venue selection is obviously, since we did it last year, we did it in Aurora. So then, I mean, obviously that was kind of the outskirts, but last year we didn't have much time to plan. So this year, I mean, last year we had feedback from people that you are kind of on the outskirts of the Metro Chicago. You should come closer towards Lombard and these areas. So then obviously we kind of circled in on that area and looked for different places where we could possibly host. And we had a good response from Yorktown, and they were able to help us kind of work with the county, work with the village, you know, to try to put the festival on. So alhamdulillah, from there the conversation went forward and we were able to
It's gonna be
place.
everything completely outdoor, right?
Yeah, it's outdoor. It's
Yeah.
100% outdoor.
Nice.
You don't have an indoor aspect to the event. It's a summer festival.
Nice.
Last year we stretched it up until like late October in the U.S. It was okay for the southern states. It wasn't that cold. But like in these northern states in Canada, I mean, you can't think of something in that time zone, like in that time frame in November and stuff.
By the way, thank you for the VIP tickets. They have reached us. I don't know.
I hope they have.
You know they have. He sent it to us.
We'll find out at the door.
The maestro sent it to us.
There was a limitation on one person. We expected Sim to enter, not his whole gang of
His whole entourage is not going to enter. It's only him.
Look at that pressure the Sheikh put on him. Like,
No, I'm just asking.
what an a-hole,
it's
bro.
an innocent
Like,
question.
dude, are you forcing him to let you in this?
No, I'm
this Rib
just
Fest?
asking. No, is the one ticket?
I hope you make him pay money now.
Sheikh, don't worry, we're
is,
gonna
is
be
the
there.
one ticket only for him, or is there?
Don't worry,
We're
we're
as one
gonna be
group
there.
of-
That's what we tell everyone. We're gonna be there. Don't worry, you come. And when they come, they see some little kid sitting there, like, "Where's Rehan? He's not here." Inshallah,
cool.
you're more than welcome. You're our guest.
Thank you. So that one ticket is for all of us. So,
So I'll tell you something. The reason why I think this is great is because a lot of people who don't know, most of our audience is not from Canada, and they don't really know Toronto very well. The Toronto halal food market wipes everything in North America, wipes it clean. I'm not just talking about like burgers and stuff. I mean just the ambiance, restaurants. You get halal, authentic Italian food, Hakka, Chinese, like Han Chinese people that make like real halal food. Yeah, I'm not lying, bro. It's like straight up real, authentic halal food. The only other place in the world, in the Western world, that would compete with that is probably London, right? But any city in America, Toronto blows out of the water.
yeah, wow.
Yeah,
I've never been.
no doubt. So the Muslims who do food in Toronto, it's like it's just they know how to get it done. Like if you and I'm sure when you're in Chicago, you're gonna go to these restaurants here. They might have some good food, but you're gonna see like the ambiance sucks, the customer service sucks, right? I'm serious. Like
Except for the new place.
no, even the new places
think
suck.
so?
Compared to Toronto, it sucks, bro.
Really?
Yes. Dude, there's no. Listen, what's the best place you can be in Chicago right now to go if you want to take your family? Name one.
Maybe Meat Moot, the Turkish place.
That's the place you would take your whole family to go eat?
I mean, it's supposed to be like upper echelon quality of like meats and stuff. As far as like a smoke.
Have you seen the inside? Like it's a very
it's
mediocre.
basic. It's basic.
Yeah, I'm saying. So there's no really nice
Yeah.
restaurant besides maybe you're gonna go to like maybe what's that place over there? Badia, or you're gonna go maybe Boadi's, or you're gonna go maybe to like Forsi or Sahi Nahari, whatever it is, right? All of those are like fast food places compared to what's in Toronto.
Third class citizens.
Huh?
They're like third class citizens.
Something, I guess. Yeah, whatever. But I don't know what that means, but yeah. But no, the reality is this though, okay? That they just understand the model better. I've noticed that personally. Like, and I always say that Toronto is like a less violent Chicago. I mean, the landscape, the way it moves, people are. It's very similar to it, especially like a Lombard area. But they just have way better food and a safer environment.
And that's nice.
Yeah.
I've never
Except
been.
for the Hyderabadi food.
Oh yeah. Well, there are a few places.
Big exception.
So I was surprisingly surprised. There's a place called Afi's Grill that's owned by Hyderabadis. Phenomenal. It's one of the original places that were really dope to be eating there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. But
Well, if
yeah,
you're Hydro, you can get that at home. But one other question I had is, so when people enter into the, like, are there going to be a bunch of stalls where you can buy food, or how does that work? Are you just going to be a part of, like, how does that work when somebody
So
gets in?
basically, when you all the vendors are individual businesses, so you select whatever you like and you place your order for whatever you want. So generally at a Ribfest, you don't have different types of food, but since this is a new concept, like smoked ribs. I mean, in all of North America, you count on your finger how many halal smokehouses you have, right? Because it's something very alien to a lot of Muslims. Besides those guys who are avid and doing it in their backyard, smoking meat, and they have an idea. Besides that, majority of the community doesn't have an idea what it's like. So, generally what happens is the family comes, they'll pick up like a few bones, like 2-3 bones, and then they'll pick up some other food for the aunties and uncles that don't understand the ribs, because they're like, what the heck is this? It's a bone with a whole lump of meat, right? They don't understand.
Yeah.
No masala as well.
the old people are coming
So-
for putta. They want to get some corn.
Yeah, so that's why we have all of that. Chai is there as well.
Nice.
At,
And how
at
many
8
restaurants
p.m. you
about?
have to have the tea, right? Like,
Yeah,
And how about how many restaurants are going to be there?
at this event is about 12, 13. There's two full-time ribbers, and there's one a small ribber who's basically doing like Korean cuts, because a lot of the community understands that better. So they're doing Korean cuts. They're not doing the smoked. They're doing Korean cuts instead.
So
We have
is
three
it
vendors.
right to call it restaurants, or just we call them smokers? Because people just come with their equipment, right, and they set up shop.
The right term for them is ribbers. In the
Ribbers.
world. They're called the ribbers. Right?
Ribbers.
That's what they're called. But they're like mobile restaurants.
Ribbon down in Chicago, Ribbon or Ribbers.
So are you able to tell us any local restaurants that are indigenous to Chicago that are going to be there too, as setting up shop over there, basically?
So the people that are here from Chicago that are at the festival, they're more so like festival vendors. They're not I'm not sure if they have restaurants, but they seem more like festival vendors that they vend at different festivals. They might have a location somewhere. I'm not really sure about that, but we do have a bunch of vendors that are from Chicago itself, and they seem more like festival type of vendors.
And what are you expecting? How many people are you expecting to show up?
Generally, I mean, we aim for close to like 8,000-10,000 mark, and we have pre-sales to kind of determine how close to that we're gonna get. But then there's many factors like weather, and all that. So those things kind of throw off the numbers, or if it's very hot, or something else is going on simultaneously in the city. But that's kind of the crowd that we expect. 8,000 to 10,000 is a safe number for these festivals.
Got it.
And strictly ribs, right? Is it brisket or no?
Yeah, they have brisket as well. They
Okay.
have ribs. They have also chicken. Chicken is, they used to do smoked, but I don't know if somebody knows about smoking chicken. It becomes pink. So everyone would be like,
Like
hey, what
pig.
the heck
Yeah,
is
it's
this?
not
This is
cooked yet.
uncooked. But
Yeah.
so then they stop smoking it. They just oven bake it and they sell it like that.
So what about like burnt ends? You get those over there too?
Burnt ends. Not too
Of like
familiar.
a brisket.
And the
Oh,
brisket. It's like
brisket.
the ending. It's the ending of the brisket. Not just
Yeah,
meat.
sorry.
Trying
Yeah.
to cut it up, and then you get like this chopped up pieces.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they,
Oh yeah.
they do take care of that, but
Because
they
that's
probably have
that's
that.
the part that's probably the most fattiest
Yeah.
and the most unhealthy part,
Yeah.
but it's the juiciest part.
Yes, sir.
Like
yes, sir.
yeah. But what's the cost like? What do you pay to get? I mean, for someone who wants to come in there.
Well, like the entry fee varies from like basically we have tickets as low as like $3-4 when they start off. So that basically gets like people biting on the tickets, and then we start getting sales. And on the day of like Friday is $10, Saturday is like a $15 entry, right? So that's kind of like the pricing right now.
So it's $15 all you can eat?
It's just entrance.
all you can eat, but you pay for whatever you eat.
So that's just to enter.
Yeah, for now, because the festival itself is it's a very expensive thing to put on as a tour. So right now, I mean, without heavy sponsorships, it's very difficult for us to put the festival on. So right now, the people that are coming to the festival are essentially, in a way, sponsoring the festival itself.
Got it.
But inshallah, once it builds, then obviously we have we don't want to make it into a free festival, because then the crowd management and the type of crowd that comes becomes a big problem. We always want to keep a price tag to it, just to kind of keep the environment of the festival. We've had free festivals, and it's been chaos, because you don't.
Once you have the Bridgeview kids coming in.
You have no
Oh, wow.
control of
No, so
Bro,
since- Oh, go ahead.
Mm.
What were you gonna say?
Go ahead. You
No,
were gonna
you-
say?
everyone
You
knows-
know, you raise your eyebrows.
Some problems have happened at some restaurants around Chicago where they've had to set up security guards.
Yes,
Yeah, but they've also happened at Gawa House too.
and
Yeah.
they were, I
That's
think,
what
from
I'm saying.
Bridgeview too.
Yeah, no.
Joking.
They were actually right around.
Bridgeview's is
Yeah,
southern
but
suburb
anyway-
of Chicago, right?
Anyways, but are you gonna also? I mean, if people are paying to get in, like, do you plan on to bring like other kinds of vendors besides just food vendors? I mean,
Yeah, we
later on?
have merchandise vendors,
you do.
like your jewelry vendors, and
So you could bring your wife there, and she can break
Well,
your bank account there.
definitely,
Shopping.
it's,
Okay.
it's all about that. It's all about the guy losing all of his money, and everyone else having a lot of fun, and we enjoy it as well.
I like it.
But we feel for him, because if he were in that position, we'd understand.
So
Yeah.
these
That's
these
kinda
guys
what
that
it
are
is.
competing, there's going to be obviously a competition, like a
Yeah.
rib throwdown. So who are the judges? Like, how does that work? Like,
So generally, what happens is throughout the weekend, the people that are eating the food, they get to vote on different aspects, tenderness, the sauce, all of that. So they have a QR code to select, and they give a rating like out of 10. So after the judging usually takes place on Sunday around 5-6 p.m. So at that time, we compile all those votes from the people. So the people's choice. No, we don't have judges for that. That's the people that are eating the food. They're deciding who's the best. Then the other two categories, which is best beef ribs and best sauce, that we have a panel of judges. So it's usually local people from the community that have some sort of an expertise. If you have somebody in the community that does like smoked ribs, and they have an idea, or somebody is a chef, or an influencer who's a foodie, right? We get them to come and sit on. We get them to sit down and eat, and we take their comments along. It's like a segment. We put it live on Instagram. And
are you
stuff.
able to tell us who those judges are right now, or not?
Right now, I don't deal with that.
Okay, got it.
Brother Junaid, he would know. He would have an
Okay.
idea.
So, what's the grand prize?
But
Like,
I
what do you
think we
win?
do have some open slots. If you're asking
You know what
me.
he's trying to do, right? He's trying to get free
Yeah.
food. He's trying
No,
to judge and
I'm
get
not.
free food.
I got VIP. We got all the free food.
We don't. After what you just said right now, you're in the back of the line, boy. Listen,
We're VIP, bro. We get
but
everything.
what's the grand prize for the one that wins like the best by customer selection?
It's all trophies for the rivers.
Nice.
So
Okay.
it's 3 trophies basically. So People's Choice, best ribs, best sauce. They're competing basically for that. That's how it goes.
Nice.
Musica.
Really good
Nice.
stuff.
So what cities are you in?
So this year we're doing, like I said, we're doing 11 cities. We started with the U.S. first because it gets hotter here first. But we didn't realize how hot it actually gets in end of June. So we were in Virginia first. It was 105 degrees there.
Wow.
But I guess there were still people. Obviously, we didn't hit the targets that we wanted to because it was so hot. But alhamdulillah, people still came out because it's a once a year thing. So we're doing 11 cities. We started with Virginia, then went to New York.
And how long ago was
Detroit.
Virginia? I'm sorry.
It was 3 weeks. So basically, it's week after week, pretty much.
Wow. So you guys are traveling all around
11
11 cities.
So after this, we get a 2-week break. We go home to our own beds and we sleep there for 2 weeks, and then we go to Montreal, Toronto. So we started from Virginia, New York, Detroit. Now we're in Chicago. We get a 2-week break. Then we go to Montreal, Toronto, Ottawa, Calgary, Vancouver. Then we have a little bit of a break. We go to LA and Dallas, and then we wrap it up.
Wow. Canada and then back in.
Yeah.
LA
So
and
we're
Dallas.
just kind of touching the hot spots, basically.
Wow.
Which draws the largest crowd?
So far, Montreal has been a shutdown. That's been one of the craziest events. I don't know if it was the largest crowd. I think the venue was a little bit small, but the response was unbelievable, and nobody was prepared for it. The Rivers didn't expect that kind of a crowd. They said this was their best vending event ever overall, even according to the Haram shows, or at least for some of them, it was like top 3. So I mean that's a big thing for a halal show to come to that level. For these guys it was a lot because it cost them a lot to be present in one show. It's a very big overhead for them to bring their trailer set up, get lodging, get transportation. So it was a big thing for them to kind of commit to the halal as a new industry. It's only beef, no pork, because they make a lot of money on pork. It's fast. They cook it really fast and they serve it really fast, but beef takes 8-10 hours. So it was a lot for them. But then I guess once the community responded and the people showed up, it was a big thing for them. Montreal's been great. Our first event in Toronto, which we did to 2022 after COVID, that was a very, very successful show. Calgary, Vancouver has been great. Chicago last year was great, but we got rained on all day Saturday, so that kind of. But Sunday was like a shutdown. It was like
I thought Michigan would be great.
Michigan was great last year, alhamdulillah.
Usually because they have the largest concentration of Muslims.
Yes, it is. But in terms of numbers, the numbers are not Toronto is way bigger than Michigan in terms of numbers. It's like 6, 7, maybe like at least 5 times the amount of people in Toronto. Chicago, I think, is even a little bit bigger than.
Yeah, I think by percentage, by per capita, Chicago has the highest concentration of Muslims in America.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh wow.
Yeah. But I mean,
New York has about 1 million Muslims, right? So there's no comparison. I'm talking about New York, Jersey combined, all that area. It's about 1 million Muslims. There's no comparison to that, right?
Yeah. But per capita, where we are, we make up a strong size here. The only thing in North America that beats is Toronto. It's huge, heavily concentrated. Yeah. So in terms of the turnout, I think that, to be honest, Chicago has potential for a lot more because now you're in Lombard, and Lombard is the center of it all, and plus this weekend is 85, 90, 87. I think it's going to be a warm weekend. Yeah. So people will come out, and plus the area that you're in right now, it's great because the masjid is down the street.
Multiple masjids.
Multiple. I mean, there's probably 4 masjids in that 5-mile radius right there, and then there's 2 full-time schools right there, and that area where you are is mainly Muslim neighborhoods.
Yeah,
so
there's Muslim neighborhood right across
to give you an idea, my brother lives across Yorktown Mall, literally the neighborhood across. So that's just how close it is, right? So
it's a very good
so
location.
People just walk there. The apartment complex in Yorktown Mall predominantly Muslim. So they're gonna walk over there and do it. So it'll probably be busier than Montreal. I think.
I hope so, man.
Yeah.
Well, inshallah. That's a fine line because you're also you want to be prepared. At the same time, there's a lot of work that goes into this, a lot of mental work. So you want to be prepared for the festival. At the same time, you can't over prepare. Now we're going back to Canada. We can't take the meat back, right? So the meat has to be. You have to make that call.
Simple solution.
We'll have a
Army,
barbecue
I'm
for you
feeding
guys.
him.
So wait. So let's talk about that a little bit because a lot of people a lot of people want to do things right, but they just they don't really understand the preparation process. So just event planning in general. I don't want you to give your trade secrets out, but I'm saying in general, event planning, and I'm saying obviously you're not on the scale of RIS or ICNA or ISNA, but to some degree you have the same considerations, right? So what are some of the things that you think about when you are planning or getting ready to plan an event like this, especially being away from, not being from America, but being from out of the country and having to do it in a different country?
Yeah, so I mean, a lot goes into it. A lot of thought process goes into it. The timing, the Islamic calendar, the regular calendar, right? Like what's happening in those dates, when are the holidays, and now you're also planning a tour where teams are traveling. You're also traveling, so you got to see, like, logistically it has to make sense. Then the permitting, right? Which city is available when, which venues are available at what time to give you their place. So now, like, see, we're going in a line. We're going from Virginia to New York to Detroit to Chicago. Then we're going to Canada. We're going in like a pretty much a U across North America. But to put that together, to make it all work, it's like it's basically a year's worth of work. Basically, as soon as you finish, before you even finish last year, you got to already have conversations in place for this year. You got to get your vendors in line. You got to have your you got to have your marketing ready. You got to. There's just so much that goes into it.
And I'm sure there's
it
probably
does not end. It does not end until you leave the city.
I'm sure there's probably a queue for certain venues too. Like for the year going back like a year, you probably have to get your spot in place. And
100%. So
Yeah.
we've kind of figured out that malls work really well because they do have a lot of availability. At the same time, there's a natural crowd at the mall. And one of our things is that we don't want to make this into an exclusive Muslim festival, although it's called Halal Ribfest. I mean, it's in the name, but we also we do in our marketing target everybody. We want everybody to come out to the Muslim festival and see what the Muslims are like, and just like how they are enjoying in a festival. And that has a lot of effect on people, the way they think about Muslims and the way they have thought about Muslims, what they have thought about them, and what they see with their own eyes. And it's a big eye opener for a lot of people. It has a big effect on them. They look at us completely differently afterwards.
So one thing you'll notice too is that compared to Toronto, like malls here are dying. So malls are really willing to give out their outlots and stuff. Like Toronto, malls are busy. I'll be honest, like Toronto malls are like how Yorktown Mall used to be.
Really?
Or like Stratford and Woodfield. Like that's if I go to a mall over there, it takes me 30 minutes to find parking.
Wow. Maybe
Yeah.
because they don't have Amazon over there.
No, they have Amazon,
Oh, you guys have Amazon
but people
too?
love to go to the mall though over there. They hang out at the malls. Like Yorkdale, I hate that place, bro.
Yeah,
I
that
can
place
never
is
find
always
parking
slammed.
there. Yeah, and like all these malls they have there, they're just busy, and like they're people go there, spend an hours. Their families walk around, like they're busy. And so, but in America, these malls are dying out. So a lot of these malls, like I'm sure Yorktown was one of them. They said, "Hey, we'll be happy to give you the outlot."
Yeah.
Because they have like Adidas clearance stores. Sometimes they're the outdoor market where they just let things go, flea market. So it's probably a good idea to target those
It's
strip
easier
malls.
conversation. They need the money, and with something like a city venue, or there's just so much red tape because they do want you to come to the city, but they're like, okay, well, you got to do all of this, and sometimes just like
It's not
on
worth
a
the headache.
podcast, I can't even mention what kind of things they mention, ridiculous things they mention for you to bring forward in order for you to.
Oh
do a
yeah,
festival.
to be honest, sometimes they want to have like even alder. And one thing about Chicago that people don't know is corrupt. So aldermen are pretty much the basis for corruption in Chicago. And aldermen, I don't know if you have this concept in Toronto, but aldermen, all their job is basically back in the days, the mayor was too busy. He couldn't go to all the different districts. So you had an alderman that represented the mayor's office in your local town. And so he could pass the permits and everything. So the idea was that you didn't have to go down to City Hall and get things done. You could just go to your alderman and get it done. But the alderman's like a middle mayor, right? A mini mayor. But they just get everything kickbacks. Like they get a piece of the business. You got to pay this guy off. And then obviously in Chicago too, if you do something like, for example, they would want for cleanup, they want you to have a cleanup crew. It's got to be unionized. You can't just have your own guy clean it up.
Snap.
Yeah, everything's union. You can't even hit an elevator button in Chicago if you're doing construction. You need to have a union guy whose job is to sit in the elevator and hit the buttons. You can't touch an elevator button. Yeah, I mean, so stuff like that is like why it becomes very difficult. And then plus, you're gonna have to have security. I mean, the city of Chicago, you're not taking a chance there. It's a lot of risk. Yeah. Because places like here, like Lombard, they'd be willing to send a patrol officer just by. It'll be much cheaper. I mean, we have our masajids here have officers that come every Friday and just they patrol and they charge a nominal fee. It's not too bad. But Chicago would be a whole next level type of security.
Did you guys handle your own security and hire your own security or what?
Yeah, we hire our own security in every city that we go to. Some cities you're pushed towards cops, that you need cops at the festival. But after doing this for a couple years and pretty much touching all the areas in North America, we have not, basically, alhamdulillah, till now, we have not had any real incident that we feel the need, but if there was, like, that's what we wanted to do, was have cops at every event. But then the price tag, you know, you gotta start shaving things down when things are not adding up. Like, okay, this is gone, like, we don't need this, we don't need that. But alhamdulillah, we don't really need it. We haven't really had any real incidents. Generally, we try to hire somebody who's reputable in the community in terms of security, and they're generally enough. And if, you know, things do escalate, they have the cops at their fingertips, they can call them. And
So how does it, when you walk into the place, is there like a single point of entry, a ticketing booth, and you walk in? Okay.
So it's a single point of entry, and then we have emergency exits, obviously, to leave. A lot of people use that as their single point of entry, the emergency exits. So, you know, we do have to kind of, I mean, you know, a little bit here and there is fine,
So
but
if
when
you
it
want-
becomes a problem,
Definitely want some security over there.
Yeah, if you want the sheikh to get free food, just post him at a spot, and then he'll watch it for a little while.
Yeah.
We're VIPs, bro. It's okay.
Yeah.
That's your VIP at the exit, bro. That's what you are.
I mean, the thing is
Very
that,
important people
you know,
here.
we grew up like that ourselves, so we have an eye for things like that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
okay, they might come from there, they might come from there, so, you know what to look out
Game
for.
recognizes game. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
What the fee is about $10 though, right? That's
Yeah,
not,
yeah.
that's not much.
Bro, we used to jump movie
$10
theaters and they were $10.
I know. But I guess for kids, yeah.
Yeah,
right?
for kids, that $10 is a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's probably a brisket plate right there. $10.
Yeah, we were just
But-
in
but typically
Detroit on the 4th of July, we were setting up, and there were some kids in the middle of the night. They were jumping over the fence for, I don't know, you know, they're kids, they're being kids. So one of our workers, he's a, you know, big black guy. He just came, took a pole. He's like, "Get out of here!" And then they ran, right. Then they threw a firecracker into the festival and dropped right in the middle and just burst.
Get out.
Welcome to Chicago.
And then the guy starts chasing them outside. I'm like, "Oh, they're gone. Leave them. They ran. Leave them. Let them be."
So let me ask you this,
fun.
man, and I gotta ask you because I know people. This is on our mind for a lot of people, bro. What is the bathroom situation like? Is it those porta potties that?
It's unfortunately it's porta potties. That's what it
You
is.
guys
I
have
mean, I don't
Lortas in them,
mind
bro?
that
You guys
as
got
long
Lortas
as-
in them, bro?
No, we don't have Lortas.
Oh,
We have
man.
water
Everyone bring your,
bottles.
we got plastic bottles. The
Got
thing's gonna be
water
full
bottles.
of
Yo,
plastic bottles.
that's an idea, bro. We'll sell Lotus. I think we
That's
a
a
vendor. We'll be a
smart
Lotus
idea.
vendor.
Yeah,
Bro, that's really smart.
the problem with that is it's not the porta potty is not designed for Lotas, right? So when you start loading it up with water, by the end of the night, you know,
You start lorting it with water. I saw what
you're
you did
loading
there.
in there
The
yourself.
Lotus become the floater,
No,
bro.
how about you get a vendor who's you know, got a little portable bidet system. You just come in and I saw these things. I know Asian countries always think about these awesome,
Yeah.
cool inventions. It's like you put in like some amount of money when you enter this washroom. You use the washroom, and then the whole washroom
I
washes
love that. I saw that. I
the
know.
entire washroom,
So you know what happens? No, imagine this. So
and then
no,
it's
what
ready.
happens is that he's missing one critical part. Imagine a vending machine, right? It's a giant vending. So there's two sides. There's toilets on this whole one thing. Imagine it replicated on the back wall. What it does is it rotates the whole thing, then it power washes the side, and lets it air dries it while people use
Guys
other
taking
side.
notes?
No,
Real
but
fast?
this is a device. They can't do that. I mean, no. But it's such a crazy invention,
Yeah.
and it's so useful. It doesn't really cost, and you would think it's that large, but it's just basically doubling it a little bit here and there. But you don't need that much space in a bathroom, right? Just a sink and a toilet, right? But I saw that thing and I was like, man, what an ingenious invention.
I don't know why like big cities just don't have that. Like
Because we're dirty. Like Japanese are clean, bro.
No, I know, but when you're in Chicago, you need to use bathroom. There's like hardly any place you could like. You have to first find a parking spot and then find a place that actually has
Oh,
a
I hate
washroom.
thinking about this, bro.
Do you know
insane.
why?
I
Because
hate thinking
I'll
about
tell you
this.
something, dude. People in this Western world will pee in the street.
Yeah,
Japanese will never do that.
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's why they don't care because like, I'm gonna go piss in the street. I don't, go to some like bar area downtown and like they're pissing all over the alleys. They don't care.
Yeah, that's true.
Dude, you know how terrible it is? Only recently at Wrigley Field they got rid of this, but they didn't have old school bathrooms like urinals where everyone just lines against the bathtub and urinates. They just throw ice blocks in there so it doesn't splash. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's a giant old school. That's the way it was,
nice, yeah.
and so everyone just standing next to each other watching. You know, there's no separation. They just like jungly, bro. They just stand next to this pee and splash on each other. They don't care. They don't mind.
Hey, so you were gonna ask a question. I think you were gonna ask about cost, right? I think you said.
Yeah.
What were we gonna ask?
So typically,
I
how
sense-
much are the vendors charging for?
So
I want a
Potato-
piece of rib. I want a diner rib.
yeah,
How
so
much am I
dino
paying?
rib is usually about $33 a bone, and that's usually, I mean, for us
For
guys,
VIPs too.
for us guys, that's usually like, I mean, if you're Marv, then you can probably eat it to yourself. But I mean, I struggle to finish that by myself. So I mean, if you get that and you get a brisket sandwich or something, and you split that easily, two people can eat that. Yeah, I mean, it's not really a personal item. It's a lot, and there's a lot of heat in there too. So I don't know. your state's gonna be when you get home after that. There's a lot of fat and all of that. So it is a big piece of meat. Like it's like it's humongous. So
I've seen
it's like
So
over
possibly
a pound of meat in that bone. So a lot of people now they get bogged down. They're like, oh, it's so expensive. But if you're like 2-3 people, if you just kind of place your order, then it comes out to like a regular $20 meal.
So usually like people just order that, like with a family of 4, they order one of those and then probably just get some sandwiches.
We have got other stuff as well. There's some tacos, things like that. So you can kind of mix it up and make a meal out of it.
So
right?
just poke.
Sorry. You guys have like a taco truck there? Somebody who's got like a...
It's not a truck.
Halal
It's like
truck?
a taco stand.
Got it.
So there's selling burrito tacos from there. There's chicken skewers. There's a whole bunch of things that are going on. So you like the best way to go about it is to mix and match it, as opposed to just go for the ribs, because it's just like straight meat. How much of that are you gonna eat? Right.
A lot.
Well, yeah. I mean, we do that
I mean,
sometimes.
like I guess I'm being subjective here because I live in it, so I can't eat too much
That's
of it.
true.
So it just gets overwhelming. I probably take like a little portion for the weekend, and that I'm good.
And you yourself, do you smoke meats and do you do all
No,
that
I
stuff
don't.
too?
I don't. I barbecue. I don't smoke meats.
Got it.
But I have friends that do that, so I enjoy it thoroughly. But I don't do it myself. No.
Who are the brothers that threw that dawat for us? The smoke Smoke Brothers, I think it was.
Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers.
That's not smoke meat.
Yeah, when Sammy Hamdi came.
Yeah. They
That's
smoke.
not, they're not.
They
smoker.
smoke meat too, though, right?
They
Do
probably. I don't know if they. do
No,
it
no.
now,
I think
but
they just make burgers.
Yeah, I wonder
and
if they're
stuff.
going to be there. Wonder
No,
vendors there.
they just make burgers. They're
Okay.
not a smoker.
So you guys get like professional people. Like they don't have to be Muslim either, right? They
No.
could be like restaurants that are known to do barbecue and
So
stuff like that.
generally, like the rivers are not restaurants. They might have restaurants of their own, but they don't sell ribs and stuff. They might have a diner or something like that. But their trailers are just literally just on the road. They're wherever they are. That's where their restaurant is.
And they're
They
just giving the
pop up.
halal meat and they
They
do it.
pop up. Exactly. For us, that's the thing.
So these are typically people who would go like they're competitive ribbers, right? They go to like conventions and try to bring their stuff there and get trophies, and
Exactly.
they're
Like
generally going out
other
there.
Ribfest, basically.
Right.
They're out there, and
Right.
they're funny people. You got to see them. You got to talk to them because it's like a whole world. It should have a show of its own, really. Like the Ribfest world should have
I'm
a show
sure.
of its own. It needs that because they're just outright characters when you meet these people.
Yeah, so we got a friend that does smoking. He's like a 500-pound smoker, and I see his Instagram. He's always on these at these like down south doing these rib. It's like around these crazy, like, southern white people, and he's just tagging along, and like they have this own little subculture where like
exactly.
they just get each other.
So,
like
so guys that are traveling with us are actually generational ribbers. Their parents started Ribfest in Canada. They were like the founders of Ribfest, and now the children have adopted it and they've taken it over. So it's like kind of like in their blood almost, right? They were like 5-7 years old running
Family
around
tree.
there, and now they're in this, and now they're in the halal show. So that's like another thing. So for them, it's like a big culture shock. That
So wait, are
now
they
they're serving to Muslims, and it's so funny after the first show when you sit down and talk to them, and what their reviews are of these. They're like, these people don't tip, man.
What else?
They
other
buy
than
a lot
tipping?
of food, but they don't tip anything.
Well, no, I want to know what's the general review of these people of when they observe Muslims.
So it's been amazing, like how how far away these people are from Islam, and just by seeing the Muslims and just in a festive place, how much impact that has on the people, how much they take in, like just the call to prayer, and then everyone's kind of going to pray.
No drinking.
So at our first Ribfest that we had in Toronto, we had an influencer, very big local Toronto influencer. He came out, and the next day he tweeted, he said, this was the best Ribfest that we ever went to. So we're like, maybe this guy's capping, right? Like he's just trying to boost us. So I met him the next day. I kind of just took him to the side. I'm like, on what basis do you say, like, obviously we're just a first time festival. How can we compare to some of these big shows that happen? He said, listen, there's no drinking. There's no nudity. There's no vulgarity. There's no fighting. There's no obscenity. It's a peaceful, happy family environment. All the women are dressed modestly. This has had I've been thinking about this ever since I left. And like, we don't think about it because we live in it, but for somebody else from the outside. So one of the ribbers, they had a female that was working at the cash, and she said after the event, she said, I couldn't believe how different you people are. Like, I said, what's the difference? She
What do you
said-
mean by you people? You should have said that.
so she
victimhood?
So she said that, like basically, and these are ordinary Muslims. These are not shuyukh or anything. And she's just like, nobody's like coming and yelling at us, talking, basically hollering at us. Nobody's asking
Yeah,
for our
yeah.
numbers. Nobody's staring at us, right? And they couldn't believe it. They said that, you guys have a lot of respect for women.
So basically,
well,
no
there
one.
you go. That's what we're trying to tell you, right?
Yeah.
Just wait till the
Nope.
white people start coming though.
Nobody walking up
Sure, get your
saying,
leave.
"Let me get your number, shorty," like stuff like that.
Well, you
No
may have-
roadmen, no yardies.
No, but they might find their match in Lombard though. Lombard might be. No.
We have all the guys in
No,
Lombard.
no, no,
None of the
listen.
girls are coming for work.
No, listen. The way it works out here is that when they're white people, they know their lines. If it's if it's your own kind, then maybe. But when it comes to white people, they understand the line.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's true.
Yeah.
That's
Like,
the message. The white cops.
they
are
they,
always
they will
respected.
they will double no or the black cops. They don't. It doesn't matter.
That's true.
Yeah, doesn't matter. But in the message, they can double park. But if they even go to the Costco,
That's it.
they won't even be close
Yeah.
to somebody's car. They'll
Mhm.
make sure that the gap between cars is perfect. Yeah, but no, I mean that's good. I mean, I'm
all
glad.
that is there, but the fact is, at the end of the day, even if you have a little bit of iman in you, that shows something, right?
It
Like
does.
that some of your character shows to people.
For
And
someone
I'm saying
that
we're 21st
yeah.
century Muslims, and this is the things that people are talking about. 21st century Muslims.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine if you were a little bit more particular, how much effect it would have on the hearts of people, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's definitely an influence. I mean, we may not be the most, exemplary people, but I think there's certain values that we carry on that go on, especially when families are there. So speaking on that note, though, are there people that are going to be doing Chicago has big Dawah organizations like Why Islam, there are, the ICNA centers out here too.
JPs, yeah.
Are they going to be like out there like doing stuff for?
So basically, I mean, there's a lot of organizations that do this, but because we're so busy, whoever we get, we just grab them. We're like, hey, can you come with us? Let's do this, right?
Yeah.
So if we partner with TCI, they're also Chicago based, but they're actually coming to all of our events, and
Okay.
they have
Who's
a booth.
TCI? I'm sorry.
The Clear Islam.
The Clear Islam.
The Clear
okay.
Islam or Furqan Foundation.
Oh yes, yes.
They
yes,
kind of link together. So, alhamdulillah, they've been there at our events and they've been giving
Quran
out copies
translations.
of the Quran. They've been talking to people. And I think we've already had a few shahadas at the event, alhamdulillah.
Mashallah.
And even last year when we didn't have TCR or any organization, alhamdulillah, just our brothers talking, engaging with the people. A lot of the workers, because they're there for the whole 3 days, so they take in and then mashallah, they get very affected. I mean, obviously it's a festival. We're not trying to be invasive with the dawah.
Right.
We're trying to just let them come and have fun, and then there's a booth there if you want.
No, the fact that they're there, and again, for the same thing, there's no nudity, there's no vulgarity,
Yeah.
there's no pork, there's no
Yeah.
alcohol. That's enough. I mean,
exactly.
To be a fest and be very a big change.
And also the stereotypes are breaking, right? Like, because you're seeing like, okay, well, they're here, nobody's blowing up or anything, you know what I mean? Nobody's going crazy, nobody's staring at me the wrong way because I'm not Muslim, right? So it's it has an effect. They're just normal people. At least that much of impact on in their thinking, it's a big thing, right?
So what's there for there's stuff there for women vendors, and what about children?
So for kids, we have like activities from the stage. We also have like bounce houses, which are free for the whole
Nice.
weekend. They can come
Nice.
and enjoy. So I mean, generally parents it's all caged. So it's not like
Nice.
you're not worried about your kid like going somewhere. We have like a crowd control barrier around it. So generally parents leave their kids in there and they kind of go around, roam around, and then somebody's
So
watching.
did you guys form like a huge boundary? Like I'm trying to envision what it's going to look like. Do you know what store it's by or what area it's by? Where the
It's close to the JC Penney.
Okay.
JC
Yeah.
Penney. Got it.
So if
Big
you
area.
come out of the JC Penney, it's on the left side, the lot. It's a humongous lot.
Yeah.
We're not taking the whole lot. The rest of it is for parking.
Is it the one facing Highland Avenue? Or the road? Is it facing McDonald's?
You know that big hotel?
Yeah,
the
Westin.
Oh,
Westin?
yeah.
It's the
Westin.
Westin's to the left.
Got you. So it's facing the Target pretty much. The Target
I
across.
guess so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know.
Across the street. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
So for those in the local area, that's facing 22nd Street. That
Yes,
side.
exactly.
Yeah.
And when the gates
You-
open, when
you do
people
also
start
get
coming
like
in.
the pin drop on our website, so you can just click that and it'll
Okay.
take you straight to it. So on Friday we open right around Jummah time. We also pray Jummah there ourselves. So if somebody wants to come, inshallah, come a little bit early and then walk right in for Jummah.
Sheikh's
inshallah.
gonna ask to be the imam.
Yeah.
Never.
You wanna give a
No.
khutbah,
I'm
Sheikh?
VIP, bro. I don't.
A VIP khutbah.
No. So.
A khutbah about being VIP.
So we open at 2, close at 10 on Friday, and
then-
Saturday, Sunday 12 to 10.
12 to 10.
Yeah.
So if somebody's like, you know what, I don't know when's the best time to come when's the best time to come?
It depends on what you want to do. If you want to just enjoy the food, then come as early as possible. If you want to enjoy the festival, come later. Then wait in line for the food.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any Nasheed artists performing?
Yeah, we
anything?
have a couple of Nasheed artists here. We have Malik the Musafir. He's a young upcoming artist. He's actually with us for the entire tour. He's also co-emceeing the
What's his
event.
name?
Malik the Musafir.
Okay.
So, mashallah, he's a pretty good artist, mashallah. And we also have brother Ali Soful. So he's also going to be performing. And then we have some local upcoming talent that these guys scout out and they bring them in at the festival as well. We also have Jannah Family and Friends. They're like a kids friendly thing. Kids, like Muslim mascots, they come and they perform. They have their own nasheeds. They kind of perform to that.
And are you guys caged off with the ropes, or how is that? Like, how is it
it's
set up?
fenced. It's
all
like,
fenced.
Yeah, it's all fenced. 6 foot fencing all around. So yeah, that's
legit,
how it is,
dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Heck yeah, man.
I hope I can
I don't
join
think we
you.
forgot anything.
Yeah, I
No,
mean,
I wanna make
I'm
sure.
unfortunately I'm gonna be out of town. Like, but I'm getting back in
Oh.
Sunday. But I'm gonna try to catch the last portion of it on Sunday.
I'll let you know if
Hey,
I VIP.
Mort is going to a Mortimer.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, buddy. You got it.
It's a
Um,
Mortimer is a
but,
conference in Arabic.
But
That's how I remember words in
Mu'tamar,
Arabic.
yes. Very smart.
Mortimer. I imagine Mort literally when I'm
Wow.
reading it.
This
I
guy's
imagine
hitting it
him
in,
going
bro.
to.
How many people you don't know what a conference is in Arabic when they first start learning Arabic? Mashallah, tabarakallah, bro. Mort didn't even know that. He's like, I didn't know that.
No, alhamdulillah. I think I'm almost at 2,000 words now.
Mashallah, tabarakallah. Wow.
Yeah.
This guy's a gangster, dude. This guy's a gangster. Self-learning Arabic, mashallah.
Inshallah, we'll definitely make our way out there. Is there, and
Is there
inshallah, you can give some shahadas too, right, Sheikh?
Inshallah, we can.
I'd like you to do the dawah, and I want to do the shahada.
Yeah, okay.
That way, I get the reward.
Look, he's beautiful. These guys, inshallah, get the reward too. Is there anything that we missed on? Anything that you think I knew everyone else should know?
No,
that we didn't?
Jazakallah khair. It's wonderful that you guys called us in, and first time podcast.
Nice.
First
You
time
did great.
jitters.
You're a natural, bro.
Yeah, you
Come
got a
on in
great
again,
voice.
bro. When are you going to be back in Chicago?
Next year for the next festival.
Come on down, brother.
when are you gonna be in Toronto?
Me, I've never been to Canada in my life, bro.
You look so familiar. I feel like I've seen you.
No, I know. I saw this dude, and I was like,
He
wow.
doesn't have a passport. That's why.
He thinks I'm
He
illegal.
looks
You
Gujarati.
know, he was born in Egypt, so he still has a green card. They haven't given him his passport yet,
Mm.
unfortunately.
Yeah. But anyways, on a side note, as far as the ruh is concerned, when people felt like they've met somewhere before, they know each other, that basically is a general understanding that the ruhs had met in the alam of the arwah before the creation. So inshallah, I hope that's what it is, inshallah. Because I was like, dude, I know this dude.
I hope I don't rub you the wrong way.
No, you all good, brother. You all good.
Yeah, when I walked in, I felt like I've seen him somewhere before.
Totally, he's
I
got
didn't
a
know.
mashallah,
I thought it was
yeah.
Shaq for a minute.
No, the
Yeah.
beard, the main's beautiful, mashallah.
Jazakallah khair.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, brother. Thanks for coming. You guys ready to move on to?
We can
another
move on.
segment?
Yeah, we can move on. Do you want to have the brother stay or whatever he wants to do? Or
Whatever. You guys got time?
You got time, you can remain.
We got some things to take care of. We can
Yeah.
inshallah head over to
Whatever
this.
you want, bro.
Awesome.
Whatever
All
you
right,
want
for
to do.
having us. Barakallah feek.
Wafiq,
Take care.
man.
Wafiq,
Mashallah.
barakallah.
Salam,
We'll
salam.
see you guys on the weekend.
Yes, sir. You want me to escort these brothers out? Or?
I'm gonna see you guys on Sunday, inshallah. Salam alaikum.
meeting you.
Yeah, I'll see you guys there. Salam, brother. Good to see you, bro.
Salam, salam. Gonna see you.
Hey, make sure you give Sim your contact. When I'm in Toronto, I'm definitely gonna hit you guys up.
Definitely.
Yeah, 'cause I come over there all the time.
Salam, salam. Meeting, inshallah. Good bros, man. Good dudes. Mashallah, good dudes, bro.
All right.
What's next on the agenda?
All right. We have a lot of other items that are happening. We saw Lucas Gage. It's hot on Twitter. He was
Poor guy, man. Got swatted like 4 times.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's been one of the most vocal activists for Palestine, for the Zionist genocide. So it was sad to see. But I when I'm watching his Twitter feed, you can't say that you didn't see it coming. So here, I don't know what if
You mean him being too bold?
Oh no, he literally burned
Shredded a Israeli flag?
No, he burned a Talmud.
I mean, I
so-
think bigger than that. I think, I mean, to be honest, the Talmud is for like religious Jews. I think bigger than that, he put a Roman sword through an Israeli flag and sliced it in half.
But that's still not like religious hate. That's not inciting religious hate.
No, that's
you know?
well, hold on.
Zionist hate.
For them, it is religious. Because they always say it's a religious ethno group. Like, I mean, evangelical Christians, that flag is the hand of God. For Jews, it's our God-given right. You're saying that you're against, they believe that anti-Semitism is like the work of the devil or people like who are anti-God, right? So for them, this is like both of it is. I mean, the Talmud, yes, because here's the understanding: most Reform Jews, Reform Jews who are Zionists, they're basically like this, Asim, okay? The Talmud is like your books of hadith.
Yeah.
Okay? They're like Quran alone people. So most of people in America who are not like basically the ones who don't wear like the payout, they don't have the payouts, they don't have like the kippah or the yarmulke. The regulars who are just regular Jews, they don't believe in the Talmud.
Oh, they don't believe in the.
No, because they're like Quran alone.
Oh wow, I didn't know this.
Like Protestant Christians are like Quran alone too, right?
Yeah.
So because if you read the Talmud, you have to like basically it's like getting the explanation of the Torah. So if you don't take the explanation, it's the explanation of rabbis. It's rabbinical understanding of what Torah laws and application of, halakhic law. So if you were to follow that, there's a lot of things you can't do. You have to file. There's 613 laws, right? Like everything from dietary laws to when you can turn your lights on, all that kind of stuff. Everything. People who read the Talmud and take from it, they take it to the letter. Like the rabbis are almost inspired. They're sages. So if you want to be this reformed guy who can go out and marry like some Christian woman, you're not reading the Talmud. Like you're definitely not doing that. Yeah. Right? If you're eating a hamburger with cheese on it, you're not following the Talmud, right? Like you're pretty much not doing that, right? So stuff like that.
Well, look, man, I don't agree with burning anyone's scripture. I think it's a common sense thing. I think these kind of incidents are used as ways to discredit the entire Free Palestine movement. These things are used by Zionists to embolden their muzzling, their restriction of free speech on people. It does no benefit in that regard.
That's the effect of it. But why do you think he was driven? I don't agree with it either. But why do you think he did it?
No, he did it because he got swatted, right? He got repeatedly swatted by Zionists, and he got harassed and death threats and all kinds of horrible things that have
sending food to his house.
So I can understand a man under that kind of pressure.
Yeah.
Now, if I was him, and Lucas, if by chance you're watching this show, just take it back. I've seen people down this track. Things end badly. People's spouses leave them. They families split up. They're like, hey, I can't take this anymore. This is your fight, and it's affecting all of us. You know, and horrible things end up happening because of that. So.
And I think he was driven. Obviously, look, if you take everything together, think about it as I saw it as like three parts: him covering the Israeli genocide, the swatting that happened, and then the end result is him burning and all that kind of stuff and doing that to their scripture. The buildup was that people were already getting so angry with Zionism and Israel, it led to anti-Semitism because they equated it in all these documentaries about Jews came out, Jews historically, and on a religious level, on a political level. He got swatted, and then obviously he just went rogue. And I think he's in that place where he he's going rogue, and I understand why he's doing that. One thing that was really interesting, I was trying to listen to it, but I was trying to watch the video, but my kids were making some noise, so I couldn't really concentrate. He was on the phone with some cops, remember? And they were telling him that he is being swatted, and he just has to come out with his hands. You guys remember that video?
No.
You don't remember that video?
I didn't watch it.
Where there's a video of his, I don't know, Sam, if you saw this one, where he actually got swatted. The cops told him he got swatted. They called him on the phone, I think, or he called 911 or something, and they told him, listen, this is just a protocol now. We have to go through with this. Just go out with your hands up. Did you watch that video?
No.
That was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy because he's like, okay, so I'm being swatted. So they actually had the courtesy, because I think it happened to a few times. Obviously, 3 or 4 times I think it happened, right? And I think it may have been the third time where they're actually walking him through on what to do. I don't know if you're able to pull that up.
Yeah,
but this dude, yeah, man, he's been through the ringer.
So I have a different take. I know what Sim is saying, but I think now, with the momentum that's there's a simple way to stop it. What they're doing. If everyone gets up and just burns the Talmud, what are they going to do, ban all Twitter? I mean, look, the only reason why he gets a backlash is because he's the only one doing it.
Oh, people are going to follow. People are going to do it. Not everybody,
right.
Though.
So what I'm saying, but it doesn't need to be everybody.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It needs to be a lot of people who do it, a good amount of people, and saying that, hey, we're not, if you want to censor speech and do all this stuff, because there's a lot of things based on principle why him doing what he did is all right. And what he's demonstrating is that if you can burn the Quran and you can burn flags, and I mean, you can allow someone to burn an American flag on Twitter, because at the end of the day, he's a pro-American. That's what he is, right? He's a hardcore pro-American. He loves his country. he wants, he sees his country being taken over by radical Jews, right? And he's seeing on Twitter that you can burn American flags, and you can talk all this crap about America. You can have Zionists who infiltrate and openly admit to controlling America, right? Things like this, like Unholy Schmoly just tweeted out saying that, the new Prime Minister of the UK, his wife is a Jew. They're going to have Shabbat in 10 Downing Street, and the wife of the husband of Kamala Harris is a Jew, and Joe Biden's children are married to Jews, and Donald Trump's daughter has Jewish grandchildren. He's basically trying to egg on the conspiracy, the idea, or the thought, the fear that the Jews have a hand in everything, right? He's inviting this so-called anti-Semitism. So what I'm saying is that I think he's demonstrating that, hey, look, if you can allow all that, the taunting, the burning of the flag, the desecration of dead soldiers, all the stuff, the manipulation of people and the prideful, admission of that, then I should be able to burn a Talmud. Because America doesn't care about the Talmud. America cares about your right to read it, your right to believe in it. Doesn't care about your right to protect it, right? It's not the government's job to protect your religion from onslaught or from people who don't like it, right? And so fundamentally, and this is not a religious argument, this is a matter of constitutional obligation, right? And protecting of First Amendment rights. He has a right to burn and desecrate any book he wants to. And if this is the backlash, because what we talk about is America truly free if this is a backdoor way to get reprisal against doing what you want by expressing yourself? And that's what the conversation then becomes.
So it doesn't matter. I don't think it's I think it depends who you ask, I think, as far as burning a religious scripture, if that's considered free speech or not, right?
It is.
There's
no that. Look, put it this way. If you wanted to go tomorrow and burn a Bible on Twitter, anywhere else, anywhere in the world, in front of a church, they're not going to do nothing. You want to go burn a Quran, they're not going to do anything. You want to burn a Vedas? No. People might respond to you, but by the law, we don't have laws of incitement, of hate speech. We don't have that. Unless you're inciting violence and wanting to kill somebody, like mentioning physical harm.
I think that's what the loophole is, right? They can say that.
No, but there's no mention. No, but again, there's no burning of a book does not indicate physical harm. It's not a death threat. I'm saying in other countries, yes, like Canada, that could be seen as inciting hatred, whatever it may be. UK, same. Many European countries will criminalize that, right? But not in America. And I think that's what he's really putting the pressure on. That hey, this thing that I'm doing, yeah, maybe I did it because I'm angry or whatever, but it's my right. And you're having people abuse the system to silence my First Amendment right. That's what it's really become about the First Amendment.
I see what you're saying. I got it.
Yeah. Look, and according to the red letter of the law, Mort's 100% right. Lucas Gage, everyone, when you have these parameters where you're saying that, hey, freedom of speech, you want, what's that? Who's that one guy who burned the Quran last week? Or not last week, last year.
The Iraqi guy in...
No. That guy's I forgot Momika something? Momika?
Yeah, I forgot his name.
Yeah, but he's one in Europe who does it. That guy...
he ended up dying.
Those YouTube guys, they also did Quran desecration as well.
Yes.
Right? What are those guys that...
David Wood and those
David
guys.
Wood and
right.
them,
They drilled a hole through it and stuff like that. Yeah, they do it all the time.
Where they were like flushing it down the toilet and they're eating it.
Eating pages, yeah. Hatun Trash, I call her in the UK. She basically says, oh, there are holes in your narrative. And she drills a hole in the Quran and brings it into the holes in the narrative, have whatever, right? They do stuff. And then this is very common, right? Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, the point being is that that's all allowed. They allow that. And if any Muslim or Christian were to take action to try to silence that, the first thing they would be met with is, how dare you try to limit free speech?
Yep.
Like, they will come in court and say, oh, they're only rallying people against me because they don't like free speech.
Yes, sir.
And the minute they do that, it makes you look like you have something to hide or you're against the system.
Yeah.
But in this particular case, they're using swatting, even though cops know that. They're using that to silence somebody.
And intimidate,
Yeah. And so basically, what he's proven, if people want to help us, tweet at Elon Musk at people on Twitter and say, hey, you were supposed to make free speech allowed on this platform. You bring people, right-wing people back. You brought Trump back. You brought many different kinds of people who were banned off this program, right? You brought them back on, and you're banning someone for burning a book? For what? And for talking about it? About why he did it?
What type
Yeah.
of...
Well, let's just watch the video.
Yeah.
There's one before this, but yeah, this is... You have to come with your hands up.
I'm right here. Okay. My wife is recording, officers. Absolutely. Okay. This is unbelievable. Facing the car, as you said.
That's perfect. Stay right there, okay? Where's your wife? On the porch?
She's right there with her phone. No one's armed. We have no weapons. Unbelievable.
Something has to be done differently.
Hey, look, just do me a favor. Put your hands on top of your head. Thank you. This is getting crazy, guys.
Man, me and the kids are okay. You're not injured at all.
Everyone's sleeping.
Okay. Oh, man, this is killing me.
Sorry, Mr. Gage. You have another live stream tonight?
I'm literally on a space right now, Twitter space. And I'm like, guys, I got how many pizzas today? They're sending pizzas to me. They're sending Chinese food. They sold multiple to my family, to my sister, to my aunts, my little Catholic aunts that are crying.
That's the
They
thing
don't
too,
know
they
what's
send food?
Hmm?
They send
how do we
food?
stop this?
This-
People
Like,
you gotta get
to
a
make them pay the
lawyer,
bill.
You gotta sue the police. I'm like, I'll sue them for what? They gotta come here, right? I mean,
When did you get doxxed? How long ago was that?
I got doxxed years ago. These people have been messing with me for years.
Same people.
Same people.
Same ones I'm sure you called out yesterday in the street.
It's the same people doing the same thing for years. And they brag about it. This David Lang guy is like, I got the cops to get him 2020. I mean, these are the same people, the same Israelis and whoever else
Is
is
that where
doing
he's hiding out at?
What's that?
Is that where he's
Well,
hiding out at?
you're never going to get that guy. But there's other people. Who knows where they are? They're calling from all over the country. They're like a global mafia, these people. They make a phone call, get them. And then there's these other guys, NAFO, these Ukrainian, whatever the hell. So yeah, I don't know. You know, this is really.
And what was
I'm not
called
gonna lie to you
tonight?
guys. All day I'm just waiting for you guys to show up. Amazon comes up and think it's you. It's. You know, I got PTSD. You guys know that, right?
PTSD.
I'm not gonna say it doesn't fuck with me. And I know these bastards who are watching this. They're having a great time. They're mocking me on Twitter. They're saying we got him. LOL. Or pizza, sir. You know, it's just crazy.
How do they know that we're actually showing up?
Well, I'm recording everything, showing the world what's happening. So I'm getting on screens, I'm going on reports. I'm not doing it to harm you guys.
No, I know. Does that you think that makes it worse when you're showing them that the cops are actually showing up every time they show up? You know what I'm saying?
If I ignore it, then nobody knows what's happening to Americans. Right. So this is this is now the 7th time that authorities have come to my. This is the second arming time. I know you guys aren't going to hurt me. I know, but still, what bothers me is that there's no recourse. I can't stop this. I can't. What am I supposed to do? Like, you know, and they love this stuff.
Yeah, you're trying to get your message out there. You know, we understand. You know, it's like anything. You know, kids playing ding dong ditch. It's not going to stop until they get bored.
I know.
Yeah, it's bad to compare it to ding dong ditch because of how serious.
But how are these people? Like, you guys know, there's no threat here. How are they tricking? I know you're not being tricked. I know you have to respond legally, right?
Well, yeah. So listen, obviously the first night was the first night.
Yeah, I
now
know.
it's the second night. So probably after tonight, I would imagine that higher levels are going to be like, all right, obviously we can't be doing this every single night.
Yeah, I mean,
We gotta
well,
figure
earlier
something
today, officers came too.
Swatting?
That was when you're out of the gym.
I was at the gym, and Detective Cooney called.
Oh, that was the pizza delivery, something earlier tonight?
No. There was multiple pizza deliveries, but I was on the way back from the gym. He goes, "Hey, you home?" I'm like, "No, detective." He's like, "Well, we just got a call that you're with your dad. You're gonna kill him." I'm like, "My dad doesn't even live in my house." He's like, "Yeah, this is bullshit." Like, he knows.
Yeah.
So I got here, and there's a few officers here. They took her number, and now you guys are here. I didn't think this would be again. I know you guys called me. Thank God. I know that's what you're doing now. But it's like, how does this stop? Because I have no weapons. You know that there's no.
And even if he moves, people are going to figure out his address.
To show you that I'm not a threat. I don't know
Well,
what to say.
there's ways to stop
They're
that.
going to keep doing this, and they're going to keep calling you guys. And this is a waste of resources and your time. And you know what they want? They want me to come out here. I don't drink, thank God. They want a mistake. They're trying to fucking kill me. They want like my dog to come out and bite one of you and oh stop, and then I get shot in the fucking head, or I don't pick up the phone at all. I'm sleeping, and then you come in, and that's what they want. They want a bad SWAT. That's what my buddy told me. They want you to fucking die. This is an act of war on me.
Remember, you're the victim here. And we're
Absolutely.
going to try to work with you as best as we can. You know, it's a developing situation, and obviously we'll evolve the same that you will to deal with it more efficiently. You know, after the weekend, you know, we'll have all those higher powers available to us to start really cracking down on this investigating and come up with a strategy on how to handle it. But for now, I'm not always going to get this big of a response, but it's going to have to maintain where we make phone contact with you or your wife, and make sure you guys are safe, and it'll just be a more casual interaction in the driveway.
What was their claim this time? If they said I already killed my wife yesterday, today's my dad.
It's either the same thing, or I don't know what they mentioned.
Something about burning the house down or something like that.
Burn the house down. Jesus God. Why would I do that to my own family?
We'll take another report for you, Mr. Gage, and then
okay, so then
you don't get bothered again for the rest of the night.
Where's like okay, so they're calling you guys from where? Are they calling?
They're calling the VA suicide hotline.
Okay, that's what so that's their technique. They're calling this. They're using a fake number. They call the VA.
They're doing a text message.
They're text messaging. Oh God, the guy's gonna kill himself, and then they call.
Well, they're acting like you. They're saying
it's
Hi,
me.
I'm Lucas Gage. I'm gonna burn my house
So the
down and
VA
kill
needs to
myself.
find a better way to verify the phone
VA
call.
did flag you as a potential swatting.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Okay.
I spoke with them last night after
Okay.
the incident last night. You're flagged in their system now. I don't know if that flag will take effect Monday or if there's someone that's got to it goes in immediately, but it will be taken note that that there is these incidents occurring.
Yeah, I mean this is. I had a.
And it's both with the VA hotline and just the regular system.
Right. They called me this morning. It was a suicide screening. So, have you wanted to come? I'm like, no, man. I'm not. You know, I never had these problems. So it's like, okay. So they're using this. They're using a loophole to trick. You're getting a call from the VA. He's going to kill his house. He's going to burn his house down. That's what you're getting. You're not getting a call to the station where you can trace. Right. Because even if that, they could use a fake. Now they got fake everything. Fake IPs, fake VPNs, fake phones. I mean, you got to do some serious.
Wow, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. Like they've made this man's life hell, and this is their strategy, right? Their strategy has been anyone who speaks out against our killing, we will destroy your life. You know, there's this insane. I know, like we're not like cool with like the Shah of Iran or whatever, but there was this great clip where he explains the Zionist thinking and how they're pushing people.
It was that 2020 guy that interviewed him.
Yeah.
And he was asking, he's like,
sorry.
It was funny too. You can pull the clip up because he explains how there is control of elements in American society, and the interviewer just kind of laughed it off, like, "Come on, Your Highness, are you serious?" Like, kind of like laughing it off, like it wasn't something.
Yeah, here we go.
Serious. Yeah. I forgot who was the guy with him. Andy, maybe, I don't know. Like, he's a famous guy from 2020. He used to be that that show 2020.
60 Minutes.
60 Minutes. I'm sorry, that's not. Why am I saying 2020? 60
2020.
Minutes.
Yeah, 2020 is a show too.
Yeah, maybe that's why.
That's why. Here we go.
Surely, Your Majesty, you're not telling me that the Jewish lobby in the United States pulls the strings of the presidency?
Not entirely, but I think even a little too much, even for Israel interests.
You think the Jewish lobby in the United States is too powerful for the interests of Israel?
I think so. Sometimes they are disserving the interests of Israel because they're pushing around too many people.
How do you mean pushing around?
Well, pressuring. They have many means at their disposal. They are putting up pressure on many, many people. And at the end, I don't think that it will even help Israel.
Why, if this is true, why would the President of the United States pay attention to that lobby?
They are strong.
Strong in what sense?
They are controlling many things.
Controlling what?
Newspapers, medias,
Your Majesty.
banks, finances, and I'm going to stop there.
Well, now wait just a second. You really do believe that the Jewish community in the United States is that powerful? They make the media reflect their view of foreign policy?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
They do not report, we do not report honestly?
Don't mix things, please. I don't say the media. I say in the media they have people. Not the entire media. Some newspapers will only reflect their views, yes.
No? The New York Times, for instance, is owned by the Salzburger family, who are Jewish. Are you suggesting that the New York Times is biased in its treatment of the question of Zionism, Israel's existence, the United States' relationship with the Arab world?
I will have to put all the articles of the New York Times written on this subject and draw the conclusion. You can put this to the computer and it will answer you.
What you're saying is that, yes, you do believe.
Well, let's wait for the answer of the computer.
Washington Post?
The same.
The networks?
Less.
I must say you are speaking with your characteristic candor.
Wow.
So I think he handled it, but first of all, it's very, very diplomatic, very, very stately, right? And you can tell he wanted to be very vague about things, but he kept being pressed. But a lot of what he's saying in the interview is absolutely true today. I don't think anybody denies that there's an overwhelming Jewish influence in Hollywood, in music, in writings, in academia, in government, and I think it's just the irony that he's laughing it off, like Your Majesty, right? And
there's this willful ignorance among people who are in media and in important positions of power, where they're like, wait, what? Like, stop acting like you don't know it is.
No, some of them know, but they're afraid.
They're afraid, but they know, like, you can't talk about, like, wait, how are there so many executives at major Hollywood companies that are Zionists and Jew?
So thank you for mentioning that, because I don't think that he, for a moment, the interviewer didn't know what he was talking about. I think the strategy of Zionists at the time was to just deny. Like, what are you talking? What? Play dumb. Like, what do you mean? The 1% of the world population? Come on. Like, they
make the obvious sound ridiculous.
Yeah, the plan was to make him sound stupid. I don't think for a moment. His name is Andy, right? That guy, the interviewer.
I can't remember.
I forgot his name. Anyways,
how long ago was this, by the way?
It's probably 1970s.
1970s.
Yeah,
before the revolution.
Yeah. But the point being is, there's no way that they didn't know that. I mean, they had some indication, but the problem is that here's the thing. At that time period, the media had the final say, because that was the only source of information that people had. So they can get away by painting a picture. So it's not that he didn't know. What he was doing was crafting a narrative, saying, "Oh, look at the crazy Iranian guys who think America is controlled by, like, we don't have democracy." Of course, he's going to say that because he wants a dictatorship in America, just like they do, right? And that's kind of the narrative, right? But as media has progressed, people have been able to form their own media companies. There's social media. What he did right now would be laughed at by thousands of people, right? I mean, by millions of people. They would say, "Are you kidding me? Like, you don't deny." And even to the point where now even Zionists themselves have acknowledged and credited, like, the idea that they have given merit to the idea that Jews are overrepresented. They actually pride themselves on being in media and in government and in journalism and research. This is what they say. They say, "Oh, look, we mastered all these fields, and we're only 1% of the popular, a fraction of the world's population." And interestingly, on that note, I've been reading some articles, and what's the figure, Sim, they tell you about Jews in the world? How much do they tell you? 16 million?
Yeah,
18 million, right?
Something like that.
So there are estimates that that's completely warped. That's more like 200 million, right?
200.
And because what they're counting on is people. If you know that 16 million, you know how they tabulated that based on the ones that go to the synagogue. Not, and we're not talking about half breeds who are still, like, very much Zionist or who are non-religious at all. They don't count them, because the idea of being Jew at one point had to do with religious sacrament, like being religious. And how were you religious? You attended the synagogue. and that's how they would tally it up,
Non-cultural
right?
Jews, yeah.
So if you just include everybody, there are some estimates saying it's 200 million people, and if that number is correct, you begin to understand why there's so much representation, right? I mean, because it's not that small of a number. It's actually not overrepresentation, right?
200 million is probably a lot, bro. It's probably closer to like 60 to 100 million.
No, I'm just saying,
max.
think about this. Think about this. How many people do you find are like half Jewish?
Like that.
Yeah.
That's joined by half breeds. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like Hillary Rodham Clinton, she's half Jewish, right? Obama's mother, half Jewish, right? Like, I'm just saying, like, there's things like this that people don't count as Jews. Because, and I'm not going to blame them for this. What I'm going to say is this. Jews traditionally had to hide their identity in a lot of different places in the world because they were not accepted. People can go into, I'm not going into the reasons why they're not at the moment, but generally speaking, in the European world, in the Western world, it wasn't something that people wanted to have around. And so they would oftentimes change their names, Romanize their names, cut off their name at the end to make it sound more, European or Anglo, right? And they would blend in and they would get married to non-Jews and so forth and so on. And so they would eventually, they would kind of blend in.
So, Mort, someone can say to you, look, if somebody leaves Christianity, they're no longer a Christian. And if somebody's a Jew, why wouldn't an atheist, a Jewish guy who becomes an atheist,
so here's
no
the
longer
difference.
consider a Jew?
Here's the key difference. An atheist from a Christian background isn't going to have an affinity for a Christian state. Right? Like, there are Jews who are half Jewish or whatever it is, and the idea of supporting the state is based in two things. Either a group of people that needs a country because they're always in danger, or because of the Holocaust, or because they believe historical references. See, you have to understand something that we've talked about this, right? How they have these birthright trips, right? And they fully indoctrinate them at young ages. They pull the sob story. Oh, your ancestors were kicked out of 114 countries. It wasn't just the Holocaust or programs before. The Christians used to crucify them. Europe did this to them. They were forced. They were raped. They were murdered. All because they were chosen people. They know that we are chosen and we are blessed, and that's what was smart. And we've always been better, and that's why they hate you, right? Even the non-religious Jew believes. I'm just saying the Zionist believes they are chosen. Maybe not in a spiritual sense, but they do believe that they have superior values. That we teach about education.
Yeah.
We are different. We're not like them. We put a focus on family and education and culture and all this stuff, and that's why we excel. Our culture leads to that, right? So all of these things are pitched, and I wouldn't be surprised on these birthright trips. They do their homework on the individual coming. If they're religious, they'll pull the religious angle. If they're secular, they're going to pull the secular angle. If they're atheist, they're going to pull an atheist angle. But they're going to make the arguments that you are supposed to be here. You have to support this. I was watching this documentary about Meyer Lansky. You know who he was, right?
No.
You're familiar with who he is, right?
I think so, yeah.
Who? He's basically the guy. He was basically the one who created the concept of organized mob and working together.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Meyer Lansky is going back to Capone days and Lucchese families, all these people. What they did was they found a way to basically the current Las Vegas and gambling in America is because of Meyer Lansky.
Really?
Yeah, pretty much. They set that up.
Yeah.
He made a huge killing in Cuba. The government couldn't get. But anyways, during his lifetime, the state of Israel, Golda Meir, reached out to him during the war, saying that they need to have money. This criminal donates more than $1 million at that time of his own money from gambling, all this stuff, right? Because why? He's a Jew. He has to support Israel. He makes his mob bosses and underbosses and everyone, his partner associates, donate for Israel. And guess what the funny part is, Sim? After he gets caught, he wants, for tax evasion, all this stuff, he wants to go to Israel for his birthright. And what happens is, Israel's engaged in a war. They need money. And so what happens is that the U.S. government tells Israel that we're willing to give you these weapons and aids, but we need you to not grant Meyer Lansky citizenship in Israel. You have to extradite him back to America for prosecution. And they sold him right out. Because the idea of the birthright was that nobody can be denied. If you're Jewish, you have the right to be. They don't have an extradition law in Israel. We have tons of pedophiles that are, from Jewish backgrounds that flee, and criminals that flee off to Israel, and they don't have to come back here. But they threw him under the bus when he helped them in the moment of despair. And he helped them because they instilled an idea that you're a Jew, your parents were in the Holocaust, all this stuff, right? And so he believes in the idea that, hey, I need to be safe, right? He actually believed that he had to even get involved in the mob because, hey, Jews didn't have it right, so we're going to do it this way, right? He actually, you know how embedded he was, Sim? The U.S. government used him to break up Nazi rallies in America. Whoa. They would walk in there and he would beat up like Nazi sympathizers in New York City because it was getting too much momentum. So these are the people, they had no problem using him, and they feed the idea that you have to do this, Nazism, all the stuff, and then look how quickly they wasted him away.
Wow.
But I'm saying, this is what I'm saying, like the birthright thing, they even catered this to a criminal who believes in extortion, murder, rape, anything. And they catered that birthright narrative to him. And they ultimately, in the end, they didn't even acknowledge it.
Wow.
Crazy, right?
Meyer Lansky, yeah.
Absolutely wild. Look it up, yeah. He is responsible for doing so many covert things, even in like Cuba, like on behalf of the American government, on Israel, funding them, so many different things, breaking up like, Nazi rallies in America. Even they knew he was a criminal. They knew he was well connected. The 5 families that are in New York, the New York mob. He's like well connected with them. I mean, he was the one that helped them. The mob before Meyer Lansky, before La Kosher Nostra, before the Jewish entities like Benny Siegel, these are his right man. Before that, the mob were just a bunch of people that were like hooligans, right? They would rob like things off the back of a truck, extort you for some money, protection money, but they were never organized. They didn't have like this way to launder money and get involved in, like, when they started moving into Las Vegas and owning property and controlling unions and stuff, that's all because of Meyer Lansky.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's insane. Have you guys heard about these new meta policies that are being enacted to suppress anti-Zionist speech?
No.
All right, pull it up here one sec. All right, here we go. The parent company behind Facebook and Instagram has enacted new policies that will control the speech that is directed against Zionism and Zionists and Israel. July 9th, Meta Platforms said on Tuesday it would start taking down more posts that target Zionists, where the term is used to refer to Jewish people and Israelis rather than representing the supporters of the political movement. The Facebook and Instagram parent said in a blog post it would remove content attacking Zionists when it is not explicitly about the political movement and uses anti-Semitic stereotypes or threatens harm through intimidation or violence directed against Jews or Israelis. Meta's hate speech policy prohibits direct attacks on people on the basis of what it calls protected characteristics, which include race, ethnicity, religious affiliation, disability, gender identity, and among others. The social media giant said its existing policies, which the term Zionist as a proxy for Jewish or Israeli people in just 2 narrow circumstances, did not sufficiently address the ways people use the word more broadly. So basically, anything that you say against Zionism, if Meta says, oh, that's directed against the Jewish people, they'll remove it.
Yeah. Based on the feeling.
So I don't know how you're supposed to, how are they supposed to read our brains and hearts?
So you know what's funny? So Sim knows about this, right? This is all done by AI algorithms, right? They're going to search through posts and find out what it is and piece it together, right? I would love if somebody hacked Meta and like just released a list of keywords that this algorithm is using. Like, can you imagine like the word? I mean, if people, because every time they start using different words, right? Like Jews and juice and Zionati, they just keep changing it, right? How long is that list going to be for AI to learn, like their models? Like, how at what point are they going to run out of words to add to like that list?
Yeah, these people are the equivalent of where the LGBT movement and BLM and even the anti-Islamophobe movements were heading towards, where you were controlling or aspiring to become. You're seeing the purest interpretation of how thought control was happening, where you can't even say anything remotely in the same category or even adjacent to the subject that you're discussing. They want to shut everything down. These guys are anti-free speech, anti-democracy, whatever you want to call it. These guys are completely dismantling the notion of free speech.
Yeah.
And they're doing it in the most fundamental ways. Right now, they're the people who are supporting Zionists among them, they're like cheering them on, right? Just like the Patriot Act, right? When the Patriot Act was being enacted and passed through Congress,
hell yeah,
the entire right wing was supporting it. They're like, get those muzzies,
hell yeah,
shut them down. We don't want any Sharia law around here. Okay, guess what happened?
January 6th.
January 6th happened. They started using the Patriot Act against them.
The MAGA supporters.
Against them.
You know what's funny though?
That's right.
You know what's really funny though is that what's the irony is that the big donors behind BLM and these feminist movements and the leftist movements were these same people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is what they wanted for them. And these other groups were taking a page out of their playbook.
Yeah.
And now they're probably in their little basement meeting saying, "You see, this is how it's done.
Yeah.
This is how we get it done."
Wow. Do you think the Patriot Act is it going after, or does it apply to the likes of Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson, or they're not quite there?
Listen, the Patriot Act is a broad, and that's one of the problems with it. That's one of the problems lawmakers had with it, is that it was broad. If you were deemed a threat, and that word threat, domestic threat is, or even foreign, is a broad term. What does threat mean? If you are a threat to national interest and security, they can get all kinds of warrants and wiretappings, invade your privacy, everything. And guess who decides who is a threat? Secret courts. Not public courts, not military courts, secret courts with sealed evidence where you can't even see what's going on.
Yeah.
You can go basically get a wiretap on somebody and not have to disclose the reason to anybody in public why you're doing it.
Secret evidence, yeah.
Basically, if you did that in traditional ways, you would have to put court documents in, and those court documents are made available. They're made public, right? So you can see who did it and what the justification was for it, right? Not anymore. If you fall in line with what the Patriot Act is, if you fall under that broad category, they can go to a secret court at nighttime, come back at midnight with this wiretap, immediately start looking into your finances, your phones, tapping everything, tracking your movements, biometrics, everything. It's hugely invasive.
Those are some of the common things that people know about the Patriot Act. There's these things called the national security letters that the Patriot Act allows the FBI to do. So usually in the past, the FBI would have to get these letters from a court saying that, hey, so-and-so company, give us all the phone records of PayPal, give us all the documentation and all the transactions of this, all banks, public utilities, everything, right? They would have to go through a court process. Now they just have the ability to do that. And not just that, they can't, the companies that they issue these NSL letters to, they don't even have to, those companies aren't even allowed to disclose to the public that they were
They're prohibited from leaking that. They can't.
They can't talk about getting this letter.
Wow.
So
they can't.
I didn't know that was the extent.
They can't look. But first of all, obviously, it's illegal for them to tell the individual. They can't even give a warning to their subscribers or users that this has happened. They can't even give a general warning.
Wow. That's pretty crazy, dude.
Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. There's detention without
due process.
They just can hold you indefinitely.
Suspend habeas corpus. All kinds of
That's
stuff.
what people refer to as black sites, basically.
No, just hold you. They don't. The black sites are for like, they can take you to Egypt or whatever and put you in a prison there.
This is in America.
This is in America. They can just hold you indefinitely.
And by the way, when they can suspend habeas corpus. They can suspend Miranda rights. They can suspend the right to attorney privilege. You would speak to an attorney. They can suspend all of that under the Patriot Act. What they wanted was a sweeping law that would allow them to use brute force and any means necessary to track who they deemed as the enemy.
Yeah.
And at the time of 9/11, it made sense because they just needed to act fast, and there was too much red tape. See. Here's the thing. Keep in mind the background behind the Patriot Act was this, that the excuse they gave was 9/11 happened because government agencies did not collaborate enough and it wasn't enough information shared.
Yeah.
And someone missed the boat, right? If they had all the information and they didn't have red tape, they could have stopped 9/11. That's the narrative they tell you. So what was the solution? Well, we have to win the war on terror. And the only way we can win the war on terror is to make it easier for organizations and people to execute on information given to them. We have to move away from the red tape. And the Patriot Act was created to do that for them. So all these intelligence agencies, law enforcement, all the three-letter groups, they can do whatever they need to do to get the job done. The problem, though, is that it worked fine when it was a foreign enemy, right? But that applies to even people in America who had ties to foreign enemies or who were domestic terrorists. But when something like January 6th happens, well, guess what? The Biden administration decided that MAGA supporters, if you wore a Trump 45 hat and walked in around that area, you were a threat to national security. So guess what? The people who wanted to prosecute you, they can use the Patriot Act to get all the information they need. So the very same thing that you were supporting and you were championing and you were happy jumping up and down for is now being used against you.
Damn. That's nuts, bro. So as far as the Patriot Act is concerned, man, there's so much to digest about this, but when it's being used now against the likes of, and I'm just asking because I kind of heard it through the grapevine, can't remember where, to the likes of Candace Owen and Tucker Carlson, what, and I have been following this. What's people's response to this as of right now? Because I haven't been hearing too many people talking about the Patriot Act, unless they're talking about MAGA but anybody who, look, it looks like a playbook out of something that Mossad would do. It seems like it seems like what I've read about Mossad. That's exactly what the Patriot Act is. I didn't know it was this sweeping, but. How far can they go with the American public with this?
So I know that like the ACLU and other groups charged or challenged the
act,
itself, or specific areas of the act, and I don't know where that went, but
it's just one of those things. Once you pass, you can't. It's very hard to reverse. Because what they do is they show all the cases that they have that saved America from what they call. They say, look, and like, for example, they'll say, okay, because of the for example, here's another example of how they leverage the Patriot Act. Because they can spy on people without controls, they have a workaround, right? After 9/11, well, okay, great, you spied enough, you did enough, you can't keep justifying this, right? So you shouldn't be doing it that much. Okay, we agree. So what they do, they come up with something like PRISM. So what they will do is the British government will spy on all of its British citizens, and they won't look at the information. They'll say, okay, we're collecting it. We only have algorithms that collect certain words, whatever, but we're not really listening to every detail. Okay, so we're safe. But intelligence agencies, the loophole is they can share information with each other, even internationally. So Britain will share their raw data with America, and America will share their raw data with Britain and say, hey, you have a listen. And you have a listen, and we'll have a listen to yours. And if they find something happening in the UK, they tell them, and they have actionable now intel. It was given to them. And the same thing vice versa. So you have foreign agents listening to hours upon hours upon hours of conversations.
And guess who disclosed all this?
Edward
Snowden.
Snowden. And Julian Assange. And now he's free. Julian is free. Yeah.
So this is the kind of stuff that really pissed off America, and why they were so mad at Julian Assange that even though he's a foreign journalist from Australia, why is he how is he held accountable to your rule of law? He's living in Australia, disclosing documents that your people should know, that the Americans should know, and because he embarrassed them and gave them a bloody eye or
he actually
gave him a black eye.
He did the American public a favor.
Yeah.
Right? And to be honest, like, I mean, see, this is the problem, right? Some people are so blinded by patriotism that they view this as an act of, well, specifically Eric Snowden, an act of betrayal, right? But Eric Snowden, like, Edward Snowden. But if you ask a libertarian, right, about Edward Snowden, well, they're going to say Edward Snowden was basically sharing this information because they're defending you against domestic terrorists who happen to be the American government. They happen because domestic terrorism is not always in the form of violence. It can be an invasion of privacy. It can be a manipulation of your information. All of that, right? Basically not upholding the purpose of the Constitution, which is to guarantee your rights. See, libertarians will believe that God has given, or whatever it is, you have certain rights that you're born with. Everybody does. And the government's job is to make sure that society protects those rights. Not to tell you what they are. Right? People on the other side, like on the other side, on the left, they will say, we gave you these rights. Let us tell you how to use them. There's a difference here. Right? So what this means is that the libertarian will say, whatever you're doing to take away my rights and violate and infringe on that, we need to know about it. It's unconstitutional. So what Eric Snowden did right is right by the patriots. Right? But if you're in the intelligence community and you're a hardcore America who just thinks about, by doing anything necessary to win a war and ignore all of your founding forefathers and the principles they have, and you just want to win, then you hate Edward Snowden.
Yeah, it's crazy because each side has a different connotation for what America First is. Like, America First means something different to the right and to the left and people in the middle.
Because for some, America First, it means not giving money to Israel.
Yeah.
For some, it means, no, we have to support Israel because it's our interest. Right? Yeah. So these are umbrella terms. And to be honest, that's why Trump has been widely successful. Because these things are very broad. It can mean, America First can even mean something to a Democrat.
Yeah.
He said, oh, I want to get jobs back, or I want to lower my taxes. Right? Okay, America First. That's right in line with America First. Right? Some guy would say, you know what? Like, for example, in, what was that, Oklahoma, where they mandated that you have to have 10 commandments, teaching that, right? They can say, well, that's America First too, because America was founded by these principles. The people who wrote this based it in the 10 Commandments. So this is putting America first, right? Not bringing foreign cultures in, right? So this term is so it's so vague. Yeah. Anyone can craft it to their narrative.
Exactly. Yeah.
Guys, we're out of time. Folks, help us out on patreon.com/the Mamluks. Every little bit that you give helps and goes a long way in the upkeep and production of this show. It's entirely supported by you guys, for longtime Patreon supporters, each and every one of you guys. I'm truly grateful to. We all are. And make sure you click on like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and throw a comment section in the comment box with your thoughts related to the show. We'll see you all next time. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
I want their leader brought here. I want him brought to me. I want the revolution crushed.